The wait is finally over. UFC 324 is finally upon us after 6 weeks of absolutely nothing. We have a banger to kick off the Paramount era. So I will be going through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving you my picks and predictions on what I think will happen. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, and now to kick off UFC 324, we have Ty Miller versus Adam Fugit. This is an interesting fight, and not from the point of that it's going to be a good fight. Just I'm wondering what Adam Fugit did to, I don't know if he pissed someone off at the UFC that works for the UFC or someone in the matchmakers. Because he really has had the tough end of a stick when it comes to opponents he's fought. I mean, last fight, he gets KO'd by Islam Dulatov. Tough fight, obviously. I'm not sure if his next or his fight before that was Mike Mallet, but loses to Mike Mallet by submission. Tough fight, obviously. Then before that, he fights Michael Morales. I think he had 2 wins in between those 2 fights, but still, Mike Mallet, Michael Morales, Islam Dulatov as your 3 most recent losses. It's like I don't know if they are using him as just like a stepping stone, like easy UFC win. So that's what it seems like they're doing here with Ty Miller coming into the UFC off of a really good performance on Dana White's Contender Series, getting a win by decision. I think Ty Miller is just going to be too young, too quick. Great boxing. Has a pro boxing match under his belt, I want to say. Fugit's not bad. He's just old, has been finished in every way you can, pretty much. 37 versus 25, it's just, that's a tough one to pick for, especially when Fugit hasn't been great necessarily, where Ty Miller's just, this is the start. This is where everything starts, and Fugit seems like a pretty easy intro into the UFC, I could say. So keep this one short and sweet. Ty Miller, I want to say he's like minus 440 right now, so no value in that pick. But next we have Ricky Turcios versus Cameron Smotherman. This is going to be a fight. This is going to be an interesting fight. Cameron Smotherman, great stand-up, really good counterboxing. He's been on the tough end of the stick with opponents also. Last fight, Ricky Simone. That's a tough out. Serhi City. That's a tough fight again. I think his first fight in the UFC was against Jake Hadley, who's over in the PFL losing fights now. So, where on the other end of the stick, you got Ricky Turcios, who's I think he's 2-3 in his last 5, but the 3 that he's lost to, Sopaj, Raul Rosas Jr., and Ayman Zahabi, where all 3 of those guys are building their careers up, and we've obviously saw what those guys are capable of and what they're going to be able to be later in their careers. Well, now it comes down to, I think Ricky Turcios is definitely the much more well-rounded fighter. I give the edge in the stand-up to Cameron Smotherman. But Ricky Turcios, he's a grinder. He's a grimy fighter. Like, not in the sense of cheating, but he's annoying. Like, he's always on you. He has this pressure to him. He's fights like a little brother. Like, he's not gonna stop until obviously the bell rings. I just think Cameron Smotherman wants it to be a cleaner way of winning. I want to just kind of strike, stay away, stay on the outside. Where I think Turcios is just going to be able to kind of not impose his will, but just be able to kind of just keep that constant pressure on him, constant pressure. And I think that's going to lead to probably, I'm going to say 29-28 decision. I'm leaning towards Turcios. But yeah, especially him having the reach in this. Yeah, I'm going with Turcios, and I want to say he's the underdog. Close odds, but I think there's valuable money on Turcios in this one. Moving on to the next, we have Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. This is going to be a fun fight to watch because Hockett starts fast. I think he has like 5 fights stopped in the first round. Both coming off their first fights in the UFC. One was a first round KO. One was a really boring 3-round decision. Big weight difference in this though. So Hockett's probably going to be, he's definitely going to be the more athletic one in there. Be able to, he does have speed for the heavyweight division. But looking back on the regional scene, Denzel Freeman has a win over Steven Asplin. And as we know, Steven Asplin, he's kind of made a name for himself after just the one fight in the UFC where it's got on the mic and you knew it was just going to be fireworks from there. He has a win over him. I don't know if it was LFA or not, but that's a great win on the regional scene to see where Asplin's been and kind of like that stand-up heavyweight, really volume-esque heavy guy. Not necessarily the power puncher, though, that Josh Hockett is. Josh Hockett's got power, but he's also extremely athletic with his grappling. So that's going to be... It's going to be a great fight, but I'm leaning towards Hockett. I think he's going to be able to be better on the feet. We don't know how he looks going into that late second round, third round. We don't know how he's going to look because he has finished. I think he only has one fight that's gone to a decision, and I might even be wrong about that. He might have all finishes, but he's capable of getting it done. Submission, knockout. He's shown it many times. 7-0 versus 7-1. This is a great up-and-coming fight. I love this for the heavyweight division. We need more up-and-coming fighters in the heavyweight division. It is so dead. Yeah, so I'm super excited, but I'm fairly certain that Josh Hockett's going to win this. I want to say the odds aren't too bad. I think he's like minus 250, so there's a little bit of value there. But moving on, we have Michael Johnson, king of the unks, is taking on Alex Hernandez, who's becoming an unk himself. Hernandez has looked really good in his last couple fights. He's on a 4-fight win streak. I'm a big fan of Diego Ferreira and slept out my boy. Also slept out my other boy Chase Hooper. So those are not awesome, obviously. Did pick him to win in those, so kind of a fan of mine. But Michael Johnson, last 2 wins, I think Daniel Zellhuber, who is people were really hot about Zellhuber, but Johnson kind of just outclassed him, and he was just showed his speed, showed how good he was. Then he KO'd Ottoman Zayatar. I'm not a fan of Zayatar. I think he's pretty terrible. I don't even know if he's still signed to the UFC. He had that whole thing back in COVID where he snuck the bag in, and they were saying it was potatoes or something. I don't know how they let a guy like that back into the UFC. Anyways, getting down into the fight, Alexander Hernandez, extremely well-rounded, fast, grapples well, really good scrambles. Michael Johnson, possibly the fastest 39-year-old you will ever see. The hand speed, it has not slowed down with the age. He still has incredible pop in his shots, and it's making me want to pick Michael Johnson in this fight, but I'm really on the fence with this one. I think this would probably be the closest fight odds-wise on the entire card. Excuse me. I'm going to take Michael Johnson in this. I think the speed's just going to be a little too much. He's really tough to keep on. Like, once he's taken down, staying on top of him is probably one of the hardest things you could try and do, is just being able to out-grapple him, out-scramble him. So, with that being said, I will be taking Michael Johnson in this fight. It's really close, but I think Unk still's got it. So, we're gonna keep that going. Moving on, we have Charles Johnson versus Alex Perez. Now, this is a very interesting fight. Michael Johnson is just such an interesting character in the 125 division. Now that Joshua Vann is the champion, He's 5'9" at 125. That is extremely tough with KO power. We just saw him knock out Lanier Kavanaugh. And in that fight, he was losing the entire fight until Lanier circles off with his front hand down, right hand lands, puts him to sleep. And that's outside of Joshua Van. I mean, he's knocked out the two biggest prospects at 125 outside of Tatsuro Taira. Those are the two biggest up-and-comers we've had in the past 5 years at the 125 division. Alex Perez, I mean, he's extremely well-rounded. But in fight, I think his last fight was in Mateus Nicolau. And I've never been super high on Nicolau. Obviously got his knee messed up by Taira. Got subbed by Asoma Bayev in his last fight. When he loses, he tends to get subs. And we haven't really saw Charles Johnson being a submission specialist by any chance because he is a stand-up fighter. But I think Charles Johnson, he's a little bit similar in the fighting style to Michael Johnson. Extremely fast, carries the power at the weight division. Don't think it's going to be a KO finish for Charles Johnson. I think this is going to be a 3-round stick and move on the outside. And same with Michael Johnson. You can't keep him down. Once he's on the ground, his takedown defense, is it great? No. But the fact of keeping him on the ground, you just can't. The limbs are so long. He's just extremely tough to keep on the ground. And I think that's the path to victory for Alex Perez. And I just don't think his grappling's quite there to be able to hold Charles Johnson down for that long. It's crazy they put Charles Johnson and Michael Johnson back-to-back fights. But yes, I will be going with Charles Johnson. Late round TKO or decision. I think he probably gets it done 29-28. They'll give probably the second round or the first round to Alex Perez because Charles Johnson does start slow. So yeah, I will say 29-28 Charles Johnson. Third round or wins the second and third. Moving on, we have Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Nikita Krylov had me feel so stupid when he fought Dominic Reyes. I was the only person who I was watching with that was like, Nikita's going to win this. Coming off a long break. Because before that fight, he was on a 3-fight win streak over pretty solid names. We had like Ryan Spann, he had win over. He had Volkan Ozdemir. And I want to say he subbed Ryan Spann, decision with Ozdemir, and then he KO'd Gustafsson. 2022 Gustafsson, who knows, but those are all great wins. Now Modestas Bukauskas, he's on 4-fight win streak, I want to say. KO over Paul Craig was nasty. TKO, elbows, like buzzer beater first round finish. Crazy. Stinker with Kuntalaba. I just think this is too much of a step up for Bukauskas. Nikita Krylov's chin just scares me. It scares me so much because Dominic Reyes, obviously, he has power. His shots have power, especially a right hand when you run right into it. And then Bogdan Guskov. Guskov's fight with Blachowicz is banger, but this is just so tough because it's chin versus... He is the much better martial artist, in my opinion. He is a much better martial artist than Modestas Bukauskas. But his chin in the past 2 fights it's been awful. It's been terrible. And not even just his chin, it's when he's going in like that, he's dropping his hands after the combination that he throws. So I don't think Modestas Bukauskas is the puncher necessarily to be able to just have that one-shot KO that it's taken to KO him. And he's got ground game. I just can't see. I think Nikita Krylov, he's taken these 2 KO losses, and he took those fights on similar or very short time in between them. So it's not too surprising that he got. I mean, Bogdan Guskov is great. But I just think he'll be able to get it done in this one. I think Auskis hasn't fought anyone as good as him yet. I mean, little Roundtree, but we saw how that fight ended. His knee just got murdered. And then Vitor Petrino. Petrino's not bad, but at 205, he's not bad at heavyweight, but at 205, not my favorite to see on a loss. I know I'm comparing records a lot, but I just think Krylov has a little bit more he can do where this fight goes, whereas Bukauskas is kind of just stuck with staying on the feet, pepper you with shots, and whatnot from there. So I want to say Nikita's the underdog in this. I want to say there's plus money on him. So I don't know when I'm going to stop seeing that or when I'm going to see that and not think, oh, he could win this. But I'm going to do it again. I'm taking Nikita Krylov. I don't know if I'm taking by decision or by finish. I'm taking Nikita Krylov by decision. I think Modestas Bukauskas doesn't have quite the power to be able to put him out with that one shot. So I'm going to take Nikita Krylov in this. So moving on, we have Ateba Gautier versus Andre Puliev. The odds on this are insane, so just stay away. Puliev was able to go to a decision with CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan. I mean, we saw what he did in his last fight against Marco Tulio. But Ateba's just, he's terrifying. He, at 23 years old, to be, can't say well-rounded because we haven't saw his ground game, but just the ability to impose your will so well and just be able to walk people down because they know the consequence that comes with it. A KO over Nick Klein doesn't show me enough. The KO over Nick Klein didn't show me enough to where I'm like, yeah, this will be good. His best way of getting this fight would be grappling. And I don't think Puliev is strong enough or good enough in the scrambles and grappling to be able to control Ateba in that sense. I really wonder what the first round KO odds are going to look like for Ateba, but the finish is coming. You know that. And I want to say he's like minus 1,600 or something like that, minus 800, something crazy. His ability to switch stance really shows he's leveling up his game. And at 23 years old, truly the sky's the limit for Ateba right now. Keep it short at that. Ateba by KO. Moving on, we have Umar versus Davison Figueiredo on the prelims. This is just showing, it's a testament to how good this comeback card is. Like, there's no intro better than this to the Paramount era. This is peak. But another fight where the odds are just absolutely lopsided, insane. I want to say Umar's over a minus 1,000. I want to say it's over than that. Davison coming off the torn ACL to Corey Sandhagen, goes out and gets a split decision win over Montel Jackson, which is a good win. Montel Jackson is really good. Good striking, good power on the feet. Umar's fight with Mario Batista, it did show not holes in his game, but not necessarily the what we thought like the absolute Umar Nurmagomedov, the Russian who can strike, the one who can do it all. I still think he gets this one done, though. I mean, and that's no hot take by in any regard, but I think Umar he's much more a position over submission. So he's not gonna force a submission if it's not absolutely there. Where I can't exactly say the same for Davis and Figueiredo. And in the grappling against a guy like Umar, yes, I guess he can get caught, especially by Davis, and he has a great squeeze on his chokes. Great, he has incredible jiu-jitsu. But I think Umar's just going to be too tough, especially in a 3-round fight. That's where he's really going to strive. I mean, if it was a 3-round fight against Marab, I think Umar wins that 2-1. But yeah, I think not even going to overthink this at all. Umar Nurmagomedov by decision, easy. Go get your money on that. It'll be easy. Moving on. Shabis Gene Silva versus Arnold Allen. I love Arnold Allen. But Gene Silva is he's a marauder. He's nasty. He has it seems like aimbot on the feet with his hands. He tracks the target extremely well. The pressure is very good. Um Diego Lopez, he was walking Diego Lopez down in that second round before that elbow or spinning back fist. And he has just such a wide arsenal of strikes that he's able to throw and throw with horrible intention behind them. Like he front kicked Diego in the face like 2 or 3 times, just flush, but Diego's just granite chin. I, Arnold Allen's very durable, so it'll be tough to really say Gene Silva by KO. So I'm gonna say Gene Silva by TKO. I think he's gonna clip him second round, maybe early third, put him on his butt, and then finish him on the ground. As bad as that makes me feel, because I love Arnold Allen, and he's been out with injuries. And in this fight, it's going to be a really high volume fight on the feet. And Arnold takes his hands every fight. I don't know why. His last win coming over Giga, we saw what Giga just had happen to him, similar to the Diego finish, but this is going to be a banger fight. No doubt in my mind. If I could early pick fight of the night, I would 100% put all my chips on this. This is going to be an awesome fight. I was super excited when this fight got announced. It just makes me sad because Arnold's been off for so long. There's been so many matches that I wish they would have made for him. And Gene Silva is just an absolute savage. So I'm taking Gene Silva by second to third round TKO. Moving on, we have Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. This was supposed to be Alexa Grasso versus Rose Namajunas, who Natalia Silva just beat. So, and I hate that people are like, "Oh, Rose is falling off. Rose isn't." Her or I think she has one. No, she has 2 losses up at this division. She's lost to Aaron Blanchfield and Manon Fiora. She had not great, but good wins like Miranda Maverick, Tracy Cortez, Amanda Hebas. I mean, those are good names for the division, and we saw what she did to Weili in both of those fights. I know I'm going back in time for these, but Natalia Silva has fought a couple, but not as many of that upper echelon of women's flyweights. Or well, she fought down, but she hasn't fought that upper echelon of fighter that Rose Namajunas has really fought. But saying that, I do have to say that I'm gonna lean towards Natalia Silva. She has a really good win. She's on a big win streak right now. Just beat Grasso. Before that, beat Jessica Andrade. Who was it? Araujo? But I don't even know if she's still in the UFC after her last fight. It was terrible. Rose is able to keep it long, keep it on the feet. But Natalia Silva is just extremely well-rounded, fast, moves very well, young, hungry, beautiful. So we're gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna lean towards Natalia Silva. I think she's a pretty big favorite in this one too. I wouldn't. I would give it minus 225 to plus 155, plus 185, whatever that would be for Rose. I think it's gonna be. I think it'll be a good women's fight. It'll be entertaining on the feet. Good scrambles on the ground. Both are very. This is for a women's MMA fight. This is extremely high level women's MMA. So excited for that. Moving on, we have Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derrick Lewis. Love Derrick. Love his balls. But Waldo Cortez Acosta, he makes me shiver. He is a monster. 6'4". Little he has the slight advantage in the height department. He might have the power advantage. So. KO win after the Ante Delija fight showed how good he can be. Gets eye poked, and then a finish happens. They replay it, see that the finish stemmed from the eye poke. They restart it, gets the KO, I want to say in the same round. That's fucking insane. Where Derrick Lewis, what are his last two wins? Taliesin Teixeira and... Ooh. But they're 2 KOs. But Derrick Lewis, if he's going to win, it's going to be by KO. Take the under on rounds, probably. I would say first round, but we saw Waldo, he's able to kind of grind it out with the Robelis to Spain fight. I know that was a little while ago, but Robelis to Spain, we see what he's done in karate combat. He's extremely dangerous on the feet. Waldo was able to just out-grapple him and just keep him on the ground and just sit on him and just walk his way to a win, essentially. I think he could easily do that in this fight. He doesn't win by submission often. I want to say he only has like 1 submission in his career, and it was very early on. But his strikes per minute, I know this stat's weird, but he just volume, walking you down, and he has a granite chin as well. I will. Odds on this, I don't know if they're close or not, but I think Waldo by KO is the easiest money on this entire card, probably, to be honest. So leave it at that. Moving on. Suga Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. This is a sick fight. This is a very awesome fight for the bantamweight division. I'm hoping Sean O'Malley wins because him versus Jan on the White House card would be so sick. That would be the perfect co-main, and then there's so many options. Well, not really. I will be extremely pissed off if what I'm thinking in my head doesn't happen. But O'Malley versus Jan would be the best co-main event to just build the biggest White House card possible. Song Yadong is no easy test. I mean, extremely good in the pocket, gets inside, and he works extremely well from inside. But with that, Sean O'Malley works extremely well from the outside, and he keeps his distance extremely well by using feints, by using all of his tools, because he switches stances so well. He'll use a kick and just step through off of that, and that'll be a stance switch, which I think works so well for him. He's much longer in this fight. Song Yadong is just a little rock nugget. He's a muscle man. I don't think Sean O'Malley's going to get a KO in this. I think he uses long reach, keeps him on the end of his punches. I think Song Yadong will probably shoot a couple takedowns. I don't think it'll be a main focal point of his camp, but I think this will be I don't think pretty easy, but I think this will be a Sean O'Malley decision. I think that's probably I don't even know what the odds are. I think this is probably the one of the easier fights to call, but Song Yadong is very good. Had really close fight with Piotr Jan. Not really close, but it was a great contest. Then he had the eye poke over Henry Cejudo. That was fucked up. I think that was really dumb that the disrespect on eye pokes it just baffles me. Like, oh, fight through it. Fight through it. Oh, he saw that his game plan wasn't working out, so he wanted a way out. You can't see. You're in there with an absolute marauder on the other side of you with Song Yadong as Henry Cejudo, or you can say Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall, which that's what, when eye pokes come up, that's the first thing that comes to everyone's mind right now. But having to take a decision loss through what is it was the main event of that card. It was the Seattle. 3 rounds in, and you have to take a unanimous decision loss because you get eye poked. If they take a point from that, does Cejudo win that? Does Cejudo retire? Does Cejudo even take the Peyton Talbot fight? So with that, Song Yadong is great. Don't get me wrong. But I think Sean O'Malley is going to be able to do Sean O'Malley things in this fight, keeping him out of range, keeping him on the back foot, being able to just slide out of range, use his jab, use his feints. His feints are going to be the biggest thing in this fight to be able to keep the distance, I want to say. So I will be going with Sean O'Malley. I feel like most people are. The main event. For the interim lightweight title, who gets to fight Ilia? Petty Justin Gaethje. Ooh, it makes me so excited. Obviously we know what Justin Gaethje does. He's been here. He's been in these spots before. He was in the actual title fight he's been an interim champion before. Beat Tony when Tony was on a fucking 12-fight win streak and made Tony look like no one had done before. You could say Justin Gaethje broke what Tony Ferguson was. After that, I mean, it was straight up, straight down for Tony Ferguson on that win streak into the loss. I like Patty in this fight. I like his grappling. Justin Gaethje in his last fight, Fiziev put him in a inverted triangle choke within the first minute and a half. I don't think Fiziev has the grappling. I mean, he has great wrestling. Fiziev has great wrestling, but I don't think he has the grappling with submissions that Patty does, and I don't think that's crazy to say. These wins though. Michael Chandler win, granting you an interim title fight. Maybe if it was 2 fights ago. But I don't think Michael Chandler's ever really been a fighter where you can beat him, boom, you're in the title. You're next for a title shot. He's 2-6 in the UFC. He has 2 wins, and then being Tony Ferguson at the head of his losing streak, where I argue that Tony Ferguson could have won that first round. And then Dan Hooker in his debut, and that was Dan Hooker. It's not the real Dan Hooker. It's not the tatted up Dan Hooker that we know now. It's just Gaethje, his path to victory in this is catch him on the chin when he walks in, because Patty just walks straight forward, chin straight in the air. Or he has in the past. I guarantee they've worked on that a lot in this camp because they know what Justin Gaethje can do. They know he has that overhand right that James Vick took. Edson Barbosa, but Gaethje hasn't done that in a long time. His last KO was head kick over Poirier, which was insane. The thing that scares me about Paddy in this fight is in his interviews lately, he's been so, oh, I think I'm going to catch him on the feet. Oh, I think I'm going to KO him. The longer on the feet this goes for Paddy, it just, Gaethje has the upper hand on the striking. There's no doubt about that. In my mind, there's no doubt in my mind. Leg kicks. It's Paddy, get this fight to the ground and submit him. That is your path to victory every single time in this fight. If that happens, I think Paddy wins 10 out of 10 times. But if he wants to have that big head and show, oh, I can stand with Ilia. Oh, I'm the best. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's where the fight will start leading towards Gaethje. Not saying Paddy's got, his durability is insane. But I think I'm going to take Paddy Pimblett by submission in the second round. Not too sure on which submission. Just trying to think of position in my head where the fight would likely be. No, I'm not even gonna say it, but I think submission will be there. If you're betting on FanDuel, double chance, Gaethje by KO and Paddy Pimblett by submission. Odds will probably be kind of shit on that, but I'm guaranteeing cash on that. But man, this is what makes a main event so fun, is that this is the first main event in a while, a big main event where it's not, yeah, like Merab. Was I certain that Merab was gonna win? No, but it was like, okay, it's a Merab fight. We know what we can expect. But Petr Yan just completely turned the tables on that, and just I was almost emotional on how just it was like almost a perfect performance. But yeah, this is gonna be such a fun card. There's so many bangers on this card. I couldn't be more happy with the card we have back. Honestly, with the Kayla Harrison Amanda Nunes fight getting pulled, I was gonna take Kayla Harrison in that fight, and I really like Amanda Nunes. I never liked Rousey back in the day, and my dad loved her. And watching Amanda just kill every spirit of Rousey's comeback, it just so sweet. So not having to root against a pick, I hate doing that. Making a pick in Apology or whatnot, but I really want someone else to win. I love that I don't have to do that. So, that being said, that is UFC 324 Saturday on Paramount Plus. We are finally here. So yeah, like, subscribe, join the fam. That's it. See you guys in the next one.